Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. And I'm really excited about this for a lot of reasons. It would take hours to explain. But I'm with Judy Rosenblatt, actress and TV, film, theater, and also an aficionado in transcendental meditation, which we're going to be talking about. But I think it's essential to this little interview how we all came about. So I met Judy through Anne-Marie Hagen as an actress, and Judy and Anne-Marie got together with Austin Pendleton, a very successful actor and director who even directed Elizabeth Taylor on Broadway way back. They got together and they got a hold of a play called Collected Stories by Donald Margulies, a play, and I wound up interviewing Judy Rosenblatt and Anne-Marie Hagen and Austin Pendleton, and I did an article about this play that they were putting on, Collected Stories, at the Rochester Fringe, and this was not that long ago. It was done through Zoom, and it was just incredibly staged. And the reason why I'm devoting some time about this is after this interview is done, we are privileged that I'm going to show the 2-minute trailer about Collected Stories. And the hope there is you all who are watching this will see how this was staged and acted, the acting amazing, the staging amazing, through Zoom. That's the point. This is done through Zoom. And as I wrote in my review, the Zoom was so powerful that it was way better having done this on Zoom than if had I been sitting in the 8th or the 10th row. Zoom was more effective. So the purpose also shown the trailer is if any of you know any theaters who might be interested in putting on and showing the whole play, Collected Stories, with Judy and Anne-Marie, then contact Judy, contact me. It is certainly well worth, and it's just an amazing production during COVID. And I'm done. So Judy Rosenblatt, what a thrill for me to introduce you. So say hello, and if you could, part of your saying hello is talk a little bit about, because you studied in some of the best places on the planet as far as acting goes. So take it away, Judy.
Well, actually, I studied painting at Cornell University, and my painting teacher saw me in a play, and he said to me, "You're a much better actor than you are a painter." When I finished Cornell, I went to Central School of Speech and Drama in London, and I studied there. I had studied previously with Joseph Balfior, my first teacher, who was a member of the group theater, the original group theater, and would have become very famous, except he refused to name names during the Army McCarthy hearings.
Wow.
And I studied with William Esper, Bill Esper, from Rutgers, who actually taught at Rutgers. I studied with Sanford Meisner. I studied with Uta Hagen, Carol Rosenfeld, Austin Pendleton, everybody but Strasberg and Stella Adler, who I'm sorry I never got to study with them. But it's mostly Meisner. I'm mostly Meisner trained.
Okay. Just beyond it's your background so amazing. And quickly, we talked about this. Quickly, any comments about some of your TV acting? Anything you want to say?
So actually, in my career, I've been in and out of theater. I started when I was very young. I kept dropping out. My ego wasn't strong enough, and I suffered from very serious depression. So when I failed at something, that got me out of the picture for years. I came back to acting actually when I was about 62.
Wow.
And I've done more acting now than I ever did before in my life. I was recently in an episode of Hunters with Al Pacino and Logan Lerman. And I did The Cobbler with Dustin Hoffman and Steve Buscemi and Ellen Barkin. Mostly I've done theater, a lot of stuff with Austin Pendleton. I did Lanie Robertson's Woman Before a Glass, which is about Peggy Guggenheim, a one-woman show that I produced myself at the Abingdon in 2011. Then it took me 7 years to get it somewhere else. And we got it to the Jermyn St.Theatre in London, which is a wonderful theater. So I had 3 or 4 weeks there and wonderful reviews. And then I came back and I did it at a few other theaters. And then Anne-Marie and I got together during COVID. And we started working with Austin and we started working on Collected Stories. We work very well together. We have a similar training. And we did the whole show. Austin directed us. We applied to the Rochester Fringe Festival. They put it up. And now we want to take it further.
And it should be taken further because, yeah, people need to, again, I have to reiterate, this was done on Zoom. And it was miraculous because the three of you never met.
Right.
It was all
well,
done.
I met Austin.
Yes, you met Austin, but I mean, this was all staged through Zoom.
Right, right.
Directed and just amazing. Any other comments about film or theater, and then we're going to kind of drift into TM. Any other?
You know, just that you know, theater has always been for me a very strong way of communicating. When I work with people, they become kind of like my family. And, you know, started when I was a very little girl playing make-believe when I was very, very young. And it's always been the way I connect best.
Okay. Okay. It's time.
Okay.
Talk about, do I see a cat?
My cat, Molly.
Oh, it's my mother.
Molly.
My mother.
Being on the picture.
Yes, cute. So let's really dive into some TM. So,
Okay.
because I think a lot of people out there don't really know a lot about it, and it's really something they should know about. So, how long have you been practicing TM, and what were the circumstances that actually got you involved in the first place in TM?
So it'll be 46 years.
Wow.
February.
Wow.
Yeah, and what happened was in my family there was a lot of depression, bipolar depression, serious depression, also early heart attacks. And when I was in my late 20s, a doctor told me that I was an incredibly great candidate for a heart attack in 20 years, which would have been when I was about 45. And I'm obviously way older than that now. Because I was depressed, I started taking what was called then diet pills. They were amphetamines.
Mm-hmm.
And I became addicted to them. And I was addicted to speed. It was actually speed for 10 years, right? I was also drinking. I was not taking care of myself. And I had tried everything to stop taking the pills. You know, I'd done consciousness raising, what was called then EST, you know, and all kinds of seminars and therapy, nothing worked. And so I started meditating. And then what happened with meditating is after I learned meditation, after about a week or two, you know, I called the center and I said, you know, this doesn't work. I've been doing it for 2 weeks, it doesn't work. And they said to me, because at that point, I thought in my life, if something doesn't work in a week, it doesn't work. I had no patience. And they said to me, how regular are you? And I said, well, I'm pretty regular. And they said, well, you should be doing it morning and evening. How many meditations do you do in a week? And I said, I don't skip many, maybe 5 or 6 or 7, which is half the time. And then I was meditating for a few months, nothing, it didn't seem to work. I wasn't regular. And I had signed up to take a residence course where you go away for the weekend and you meditate a lot. And I went only because I wanted to get out of the city and I wanted to meet people. So I came on the course. It was a Friday night, a Saturday morning, no, a Friday night, all day Saturday and Sunday morning. I did nothing that they said. I didn't go to the meetings, right? I didn't do the asanas. I only did the meditation. And 4 different people who I wish that I knew their names took me aside and they said, look, you paid your money, sit down for 6 months and do it. And don't ask yourself after every meditation, is it working? I came home from that 2-day retreat, and for a week, I didn't take a pill and I didn't take a drink.
Wow. Wow.
And I said to myself, something is here, right? People said to me, did you have a good time on the weekend? I said, no, I hated it. And then I signed up for another weekend. Everybody thought I was a masochist, but it was the healthy part of me saying, if after 10 years you couldn't give this up, and after 2 days of doing this transcendental meditation, you went a week without a drink or a pill, something's going on. Hope that wasn't too long.
No, that's powerful. Wow, is that powerful?
Yeah.
Woof. So, for what is the difference between TM and other kinds of meditation?
Right. So I haven't tried other kinds of meditation, but what I understand intellectually is that in different kinds of meditation, it involves either concentration or contemplation. So you concentrate on something, which keeps the mind active. And the goal of meditation is for the mind to let go. So in concentration, your mind is active. In contemplation, you're thinking of a word like love and thinking about, well, what is love to me and who do I love and what is the essence of love? Again, your mind is active. In TM, it's about letting go. So little by little, your mind seems to drop down and you go to a level that's kind of beneath the field of thought.
So when you're saying letting go, it's like clearing your head. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You know, all meditations say it's about clearing your head, but if you're concentrating or you're contemplating, it seems impossible to me that you don't stay in your head.
Okay. Okay. What are some of the benefits you noticed right away that that kind of made you continue?
Yeah. So the thing is, little by little, things started getting better for me. My depression started to lessen.
Wow.
I became more active. I became more social. I attracted people to me who were not users anymore, who had as much to give as I had to offer. I started going out to see agents, you know, and not being as afraid as I was. And maybe one of the most important things that happened to me is, you know, after I started meditating, and after that 1 week, I was still taking the pills, and I continued taking the pills for about a year. But after about a year or a year and a half, the pills that I couldn't get out of bed without started tasting like poison.
Wow. Wow.
And I couldn't take them anymore.
Wow.
I know. So it just happened naturally. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to plan about it. I didn't have to make a commitment. It just happened naturally from sitting down twice a day and meditating. But there are so many other, there are so many other benefits of meditating. Every single time I meditate, when I come out of my meditation, I notice a difference in the way I function.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to add in for people who are listening, because nobody knows me, but everybody knows Jerry Seinfeld and Howard Stern. And I would recommend, both of whom are long-term meditators, I would recommend that people go to YouTube and look for the tape of Seinfeld and Stern. It's called The Joys of Meditation.
Wow.
And see what those guys think about it.
That's great. Wow, is that great? I'm going to go off topic just to lighten. I like to do that, and then we're going to jump back into this. Boy, talk about heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. So here's my question, Judy. During the pandemic, during this pandemic, excluding family and friends, anybody living or dead that you'd like to spend a day with during the pandemic? Living or dead?
I'd like to spend a day with my sister, who I lost in January.
Sorry. Okay.
Wanted to make it lighter?
No, that's fine. Nope. Nope. In keeping with the line from Dickens' Scrooge, in keeping with the spirit of the season here, just and what we're doing, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Okay, jumping back. What was a contributing factor? By the way, how many years again have you done? 45. 45. Okay. So what contributed to your doing this for 45 years? What were some of the factors?
Because first of all, I think every single time I sit down to meditate, my mind is very active, and also I'm an addictive personality, right? Which is actually somebody who pointed out to me that I was an addict years ago said to me, and my face fell because I said, oh shoot, I'm an addict. And she said, I love addicts, we're looking for God. Now, this does not mean addicts who practice. It's an addict personality, and a lot of people who are spiritual and artistic have an addict personality, right? So I've replaced bad habits for the habit of meditation. But every time I sit down, so in my regular life, sometimes when problems come or things I have to handle, the problem is so big that it's in my face and I can't think of how to handle it. It's just insurmountable. It's in my head. When I sit down to meditate, what usually happens is all of a sudden I see the problem from a distance. I'm not the problem anymore. I see the problem, so I can handle the problem.
Interesting.
Wow. And when I come out of meditation, I just start acting. I'm not in my head so much. I just know what I have to do, and I start doing it without my head saying, oh, you can't do this, you can't accomplish this, it's too much, it's too late, it's too this. I just start doing things.
Okay. Do you ever skip like meditation and
of course I've skipped, but I don't often skip.
Okay.
But sometimes I have these young assistants, young actors who help me, when I'm working on a show or something, and they say, and I've asked them, what's the difference when you skip your meditation? And when they come in to work with me, and it's a day when I seem scattered and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not getting things done, they say to me, oh, you skipped your meditation this morning.
Wow. that noticeable.
Yeah.
So to kind of wrap this segment up, are there any interesting or funny quote meditation stories to tell?
Well, yeah, I'll tell you one about, I had, of course, been telling my family for years to meditate. And they're my family, so they didn't listen to me. And my dad, may he rest in peace, was a very social man. And we went out to dinner once. He was 79 at the time. And we had this waitress who was a ball of fire. She had incredible energy. And my father was very attracted to people with a lot of energy. He had a lot of energy himself. And when she came to the table, he said, you know, honey, you've got so much energy. You know, what do you do? And she said, I meditate. And she went to another table. When she walked away, I knew that when she came back, my dad would ask her what kind of meditation she did, right? So I'm sitting at the table with my fingers crossed under the table, and she comes back and he says, you know, honey, my daughter's been doing meditation for many years. What kind of meditation do you do? And she says, TM, and walks away. A week later, my dad learned meditation.
Wow.
And would say to me in the morning, he had a glass and shade and mirror business, right? He would call me from the store in the morning and he would say to me, Judy, I get up in the morning, I do my 20 minutes, I get to the store and I've got all this energy. Why didn't you tell me about this before? I said, Dad, I've been telling you about it for 20 years.
So interesting.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap this up with one final question off of TM. And it's one of my favorite questions they ask. It's also kind of heavy. Been a heavy theme here, Judy. So anyway, this is a fill in the blank, and this is how we're going to end this wonderful segment. Fill in the blank. Before I leave this earth, I won't be happy until I blank.
Say it again.
Before I leave this earth, I won't be happy until I blank.
Until I, oh shoot.
And you don't have to answer it. I just threw it
Before I
out
leave
there.
this earth, I won't be happy until I, the word that comes to me is connect.
Fine.
Connect.
Just connect, and that's
Connect.
wonderful. That's wonderful. And this has been wonderful. We've spent extra time together because it's so important, the message of TM, and when we go off the air, we have to chat a little bit. Did
you want to ask the question about why people shouldn't learn from a book?
Yeah.
Or do we
yes. No. You know what? Answer that. Yes.
Just really quickly. A lot of people have said to me, you know, I say, do you meditate? And they say, yes. And, you know, I said, what do you do? Oh, I do my own thing. And when did you meditate last? I meditated, you know, 2 weeks ago. I meditated last week. And then they say, oh, I can learn from a book. So there are books out there that allege to teach meditation and allege to teach TM. I would never tell anybody that I love to learn it from a book.
Wow.
Because I don't know anyone who's learned it from a book who does it for more than 8 or 9 months.
Wow.
But I know hundreds of people who practice TM who've been doing it for 45, 50 years, regularly, twice a day. You don't do something twice a day for 50 years, your whole life, unless you're getting something out of it every day. And that's people who are taught by a teacher who's trained for a year to teach it properly.
So you got to do it the right way.
Yeah. It's worth every penny, because
Great.
I would not be alive today if it weren't for TM. I would have had a heart attack 20 years ago, I know.
So interesting.
Thank you for letting me get all that in.
Oh no, listen, this is our time together, and this is just so valuable. You know, the lessons here. So anyway, we're going to officially sign off, but I want to remind everybody to stay right here and watch the 2-minute Collected Stories trailer, with the hopes that you pass along to some theater to put the whole production on, because you have it. So Judy, I'm just so thrilled I met you. So thrilled that we had this time together, and our dress rehearsals and everything. And I can't thank you enough for this. And everybody, just stay and go watch the trailer, and be well, Judy. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Professor?
Oh, yes. Come in.
I'm sorry I'm late.
That's all right.
Have you got a screwdriver or something?
A screwdriver?
Yeah, you know, to like...
I couldn't find a screwdriver. Try this.
A spatula? Is it true you need a new assistant?
What?
I heard you need a new assistant.
Yes,
I heard she graduated and you haven't picked a new one yet.
that's correct.
Well, can I apply?
I look damn good in those tight co-ed Lana Turner sweaters.
And you've never written about it? Really? How come?
Some things you don't touch.
Oh my God. I've got to write a novel, don't you think? Isn't that what they want?
It's not art, it's not homage, it's parody. You had no right.
No right? What about my right as an artist?
You have to earn that right. Admit your artistic and moral failure. Because if you don't, I'll do everything I can to stop it.